Hi everyone, my name is Ambrose. I'm from the Blessed Sacrament Church EMMAUS youth community. And today on the LAKSAForOurJIWA episode, I'm going to share about my experiences and how I've managed to keep my faith life living here far from home. Now, a few days before I was due to fly to Cyberjaya, as any other East Malaysian would before flying off to somewhere else, either for studies or work or just traveling, we'd spend the final week consuming all our favorite foods because it's going to be a long time since we taste them again. I recall one morning I was having laksa at the Golden Arch Cafe at 3rd Mile, the one just opposite Timberland Medical Center, and I came across this video. It was a sermon or a reflection on the devil by Venerable Archbishop Fulton Sheen. And in this video, I took away something from it that I have used practically up until today, and it has helped me keep my faith life going. That particular lesson starts with 2 sets of verses. Now the first one is one of the most important questions asked by Jesus to anyone in the entire Bible, and that was, "Who do you say I am?" Jesus went to the territory near the town of Caesarea Philippi, where he asked his disciples, "Who do people say the Son of Man is?" "Some say John the Baptist," they answered. "Others said Elijah, while some others say Jeremiah or some other prophet." "What about you? Who do you say I am?" Simon Peter answered, "You are the Messiah, the Son of the living God." And we all are very familiar with Matthew's retelling of this gospel, or this version of the story, because it comes with the defense of the papacy. "And so I tell you, Peter, you are the rock, and on this rock foundation I will build my church, and not even death will ever be able to overcome it. I will give you the keys to the kingdom of heaven. What you prohibit on earth will be prohibited in heaven, and what you permit on earth will be permitted in heaven." Cut forward to a few verses later, Jesus speaks of his upcoming suffering and death. From that time on, Jesus began to say plainly to his disciples, "I must go to Jerusalem and suffer much from the elders, the chief priests, and the teachers of the law. I will be put to death, but 3 days later I will be raised to life." Peter, after being promoted in a sense, I guess felt the need to not want his own Lord to suffer. Hence he says, "God forbid it, Lord, that must never happen to you." And what did Jesus respond to that? He rebuked Peter by saying, "Get back from me, Satan." If you look at it on its immediate context, it's very funny because Peter just got promoted, and then he just got called Satan, like literally a few moments later. If you ask me, especially from hearing the sermon by Venerable Archbishop Fulton Sheen, this verse encapsulates perfectly how to know if something is from the devil or something is from God. If we look back earlier in the book of Matthew, in the Gospel of Matthew, we heard of the 3 temptations of Christ. It's a very famous story. The 40 days fasting on the mountain, and then Jesus came across, the devil came to visit Jesus. Jesus fasted for 40 days on the mountain. The devil came and told him, "Take this stone and turn it into bread." Initially, once we all hear this story, we all think, it's just Jesus saying, no, to all what the devil tells him to do. But all of them have a connection. The 3 temptations and the story of Peter being rebuked by Jesus. All as instances, there's a common theme in it. The taking away of the cross. If you look at it plainly, when Peter said, "No, Lord, it should not happen. God forbid it that you get tortured." Why would he say something like that? You might say, he loves Jesus. Pretty true. He cares about Jesus. Very much so. But we all recall that later on, he sort of denies Jesus to save his own skin. But that aside, The reason Peter didn't want Jesus to suffer was because he did not want to worship a suffering Christ. Peter, much like the Jews at the time, were expecting the Messiah to come from the sky on a golden carriage with trumpets blazing and an army following him to save them from the Romans or from their oppressors. That was the idea of the Messiah, the Davidic king to come by in glory, just wipe away all their enemies and bring them into the New Jerusalem. What ended up? Well, Jesus came from a virgin born in a stable. So when Peter heard that his own Lord, the person he believed to be the Messiah, would suffer and die, he didn't want that, because he would be serving a crucified Christ, a suffering Christ. He wanted the glorified Christ. Much like the Jews, he did not want to serve the suffering Christ. So Jesus called him out and said, "Get behind me, Satan." Much like in the three temptations. Each instances, the devil was offering a road away from suffering. Rule, but not with the cross. What does he say? Turn this bread, the stone, into bread. Don't rule them through a cross. Rule them by giving them what they want, and they will follow you. And what does Jesus say? Man cannot live on bread alone. The second temptation brought him up to the mountain, or the top of the temple. Don't rule through the cross. Jump off, and you will be carried by angels, and your feet will not be hurt by the ground. Don't rule them with the cross. Rule them with awe and wonder, and they will follow you. What did he say? You will not put the Lord your God to the test. The third temptation brought him to the highest mountains, and he showed him all the kingdoms of the world. Do not rule by the cross, for there is no need. You can rule all of these if you just kneel and worship me. You do not have to undertake the cross. And what did Jesus say? You shall only worship the Lord your God. And the devil left him. What comes with suffering and the chance to carry a cross is from God. And what comes without it? What offers an alternative, an easier life, a simpler, calmer, is not necessarily from God. Like Pope Benedict said, the world offers us comfort, but we are not made for comfort. We are made for greatness. And greatness comes with a cross. Who would we want to be at the end of it all? The one who worships the crucified Christ? Or do we want a Christ without a cross?